I understand why people do charity efforts. I like charity efforts. I like mutual aid. I support it, and I have for my entire life. But here's the cold, hard reality that if you're a leftist doing material analysis, you need to come to grips with. Charity is liberal. Charity is not fundamentally attacking the causes that force you to need charity in the first place. Usher and a bunch of other people doing a CBS competition series from Global Citizen called The Activist. The 5-week reality series premieres at 8 p.m. Friday, October 22nd on CBS. The Activist is a competition series that features 6 inspiring activists teamed with 3 high-profile public figures working together to bring meaningful change to one of 3 vitally important world causes: health, education, and the environment. Activists go head-to-head in challenges to promote their causes, with their success measured via online engagement, social metrics, and hosts' input. The 3 teams will have one ultimate goal: to create impactful movements that amplify their message, drive action, and advance them to the G20 summit in Rome, Italy. Capitalism is incredible. Capitalism, it's incredible. It absorbs everything. It's a pure acid. What's the quote? Kenzo? About how I think it's a Marxist quote. It's a Marx quote where it's like capitalism is like an acid that dissolves everything that is sacred. I can't remember the full quote. Here it is. Haha, I found it. From the Communist Manifesto. All that is solid melts into air. All that is sacred profaned. And man is at last compelled to face with sober senses his real conditions of life and his relations with his kind. So, all that is solid melts into air. All that is sacred profaned. Capitalism and its drive for profit absorbs everything, even social activism, into a meaningless, profit-driven activity. God, it's just so vile, man. Capitalism is very good at defending itself. Oh, absolutely. There, they will meet with world leaders in the hope of securing funding and awareness for their causes. The team that receives the largest commitment is celebrated as the overall winner at the finale, which will also feature musical performance by some of the world's most passionate artists. So, listen, I understand why people... God, it's people get so mad at me for these takes. In fact, someone came into the stream today, was like, Mike, why don't you shit on so-and-so's charity stream? And it's so frustrating because I understand why people do charity efforts. I like charity efforts. I like mutual aid. I support it, and I have for my entire life. But here's the cold, hard reality that if you're a leftist doing material analysis, you need to come to grips with. Charity is liberal. Charity is not fundamentally attacking the causes that force you to need charity in the first place. Okay? Charity is there because the system necessitates it. I don't want to raise funds for a one-time event. It will definitely help a lot of individual people, and that's valuable. But what we should be focused on as leftists, mutual aid when we can, building those mutual aid organizations locally, keeping our scope in our local community, always working to help one another and build solidarity. But the goal of a socialist is to dismantle the systems that result in the necessity for the charity. I'll give you an example. One of the causes I really believe in and I love to support are known as abortion funds. They are funds that directly pay for poor women and marginalized pregnant persons to get abortions paid for. Because in America, you do not get a free abortion. It's not covered in all health insurance programs. It's not covered by government health care. So one of the things I like to support are abortion funds in my state that directly pay for marginalized people to get access to reproductive care. But you know what I really want to see? Medicare for all that includes reproductive health care. And the programs and the institutions that get set up to try to protect or insulate capitalism and our system from change create a self-licking popsicle of bureaucratic duplication, of development directors and fundraising directors and executive directors who then have to tailor their operations toward the people who have excess money, and that's the rich. And then suddenly, these organizations that are built initially to help people become oriented around the needs of their donors and those that provide financial support to the organization, not to the needs of the people that are actually being helped. Charity under capitalism creates the conditions for its continued existence. That is a fundamentally hard thing for a lot of people to understand and reckon with, because most of us just want to help people. And I do too. I'm a hypocrite. I help charities. I support charities. I support these organizations that don't fundamentally attack capitalism because I want to help people. But you have to understand that these nonprofit industrial complex that exists in many ways prevents us from seeking that institutional change that we need. It's a difficult problem. I don't have a solution for you. I'm just trying to describe to you the conditions that we operate under so that you as a socialist can help build for a future where we fundamentally change these things. We've got to get why not Social Security just like here in the EU and get free abortions because it's opposed by capitalists? Like, how can we organize locally and participate in mutual aid if we just generally hate being around people and talking to them? Serious question. There's always ways of helping organizations that don't involve you being a face-to-face contact person. Maybe you're really bad or you have social anxiety. But do you know how to do data entry? Do you know how to clean? Do you know how to organize? Do you know how to code? Do you know how to answer emails? Do you know there's always tasks that you can accomplish that aren't you going and talking to like other people all the time? There's always places for you and your skills, no matter what they are, to help in these kind of organizations. Yes, you will have to interact with some people some of the time. Welcome to being a human being. We're a social species. You can focus your help on the things that you're good at. Can I code for socialist organizations? I would love to, because knocking on doors scares me. I'm sure, yes, the answer to that is I don't know of anybody who needs coding right now, but the best thing you can do is ask. And guess what? Knocking on doors isn't that big a deal. It's one of those things that you start doing. It's like rolling a snowball down a hill. It's that first little jolt of energy where you actually knock on the first door, which is always the hardest part. But once you actually get into it, it's totally great. There you go. That was my rant on charity. And that's what this story, this activist reality show, made me just so angry about it. Just commodifying all these hardworking people trying to, I believe most of the people that are going to participate in this are actually have their heart in the right place. But to make philanthropy entertainment, to make helping people another grift for entertainment, it rubs me the wrong way. And I know maybe I'm weird like that. I'm weird that I feel this way. A lot of other people don't see a problem with this kind of stuff, but for me, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. I'm not saying I have a solution. And I'll probably react to some of this content because it is what it is. But I can't say that it's not great. It delegitimizes the whole notion of activism to make it into entertainment. I have a lot of complicated feelings on this show that I'm going to need to work out, because I do think that there is a certain social currency that means normalizing activism for change is probably a good thing. But also the capture of capitalism and the profaning and the sullying of all this for profit also it runs me the wrong way. It's a worldwide problem because to get into politics, you need a lot of funding, and the people that fund it want it for benefits. Well, that's why unions are so important, chat. The unions are so important because they provide an institution that gets its funding from members grassroots donations, and then they build into an organization with real heft and real power whose motivation is improving the conditions of their members. That's why the capitalists hate unions so much, because they represent an accretion of power. You advance organizing knowledge. It gives you an economic block. It makes you able to actually counter capitalists strength for strength. That's why they hate them so much. The amount of money that's probably going into the production of this show could pay for all these charities. That's my take. Liberalism, Christian charity, the false pretense that if you do good, the world will be good. True. Nonprofits also compete for donations, especially around the end of year holiday drives. It can be very gross running such campaigns, which are very expected and normal. Yeah, I mean, every nonprofit, when they get to a certain level, needs a gala. Every operation needs a gala.